Hey guys, Jeff here again from BLACKY'S Man Cave. Been a while since I put a video up, but I've been really busy with other things, and yeah, I'm not doing it for money, so it's only for fun. So anyway, I thought I'd put a video up about batteries. I've been flying drones for pretty much since they come out, like 4 or 5 years ago. We started building them ourselves, but anyway, I know a fair bit about drones. I don't crash much anymore. And you do crash a lot when you first start. But luckily I was flying some of the cheaper drones then, so I didn't know. You wouldn't want to be doing it to this stuff. So anyway, what I wanted to talk about today was batteries. So if you're new into the game, if you've just bought an Inspire 2, or if you've just bought a drone, any drone really, one of the most important things about drones is the batteries. Obviously they keep it in the air, so a third of the drone weight is the batteries. Pretty much a third of the weight of the whole drone is going to be your battery. If the battery fails, it's going to fall out of the sky and it's going to be like a flying brick. And they do fail, and they fail for different reasons. With the Inspire 2, you've got a backup battery, which is so good. I mean, it gives you so much peace of mind, it's not funny. Because up until now, everything's just a single battery, so and they have a lifetime. They really do. Like these batteries here are nearly $300 each, and I'll show you in a minute. I blew one up about a week ago. Well, I didn't blow it up. Basically, I started the drone up and it said cell broken, and that was it. Couldn't do anything else with it. It was a brick again. So and that's it there. We took it apart. That's what I'm a bit worried about. I know I sell caravans, so I know with solar batteries, if you've got a solar system set up and you have two batteries in a bank and one battery goes, you really should replace both batteries, otherwise the other battery pulls the other one down. Now I'm concerned that might happen with this, and it probably will, but for the sake of not being able to use that other battery, I'm just going to try, so we're going to give it a go. Now I just want to go through a few things about batteries, just so that for a lot of people like you guys may not, I've been to drones for a long time. You may not know much about the batteries. They're very important. They keep it in the air. So first of all, storing your batteries. One of the most important things about storing a battery is the temperature, and quite seriously, when I first started into drones, I had no idea. I was putting them in the glove box. And you can't do that. You can't keep them anywhere hot. Basically, they've got to be somewhere in the 20 degrees Celsius, around there, 20 to 30, well 20 to about 25 degrees Celsius, to be comfortable. Don't put them in a fridge, whatever you do, because ice crystals will form inside it and it'll wreck the insides of the battery, so don't do that. So always try and store it in a cool area. So that's the first thing. Now the other thing is, don't put it in a metal container. They don't like the electronics within that battery doesn't like magnetism either, so you don't store it near a magnet like a speaker or anything like that. When you're storing a battery, you should store it between 40 and 60% load if you're going to store it up to, for 10 days or more. 40 to 60% is safe for the battery. Now, about every 20 charges of a battery, a lot of people don't know this, but about every 20 charges of your battery, you should cycle the battery and reset it. And what that actually means is to drain the battery completely. And if you read it on the, if you actually go on the website, you will see that they actually specify that you should do this. So you drain the battery as far drained as you can possibly get it. You fly it until it won't fly it anymore, and then you leave the battery turned on in the drone until it just flattens completely. Won't even start the LEDs. Now what that does is it resets the inside of the intelligent battery so that it can reset its cycle so that it doesn't build up a memory either within the battery, because these batteries can build up memory where they won't have a full charge. They get less and less charge as the more cycles you do, the more times you charge and discharge the battery, builds up in memory. So that helps to stop that problem as well, and it does extend the life of your battery. Now, there's a few things I found out about flying the Inspire 2 more than any of the other drones that does affect the battery, and I think that's what killed this battery. I'm pretty sure I actually punched it too hard, and what I mean by that is I'm pretty aggressive now with the throttle, so I will, as soon as I get the motor started, I'm into it. Like, I'm full throttle, up and away. Now, I don't think that's good for the battery. I think the battery should be, when you first start, and this is what I'm going to do from now on, when I first start the battery, I'm going to warm it up. Like, I'm going to start the battery, then I'll start the drone, then I will fly it up to about a couple of meters and just let it sit there for a little while and start to slowly use the throttle until it's gotten used to, you know, the heavy throttle. I'm just going to try that because I'm worried that part of my problem is that I'm too heavy on the throttle. I'll tell you another thing about DJI batteries too. Now, I tried to find a date stamp on here and I couldn't find one, but I had one of these Mavic batteries go. It just did the same thing. It said cell broken or whatever, and we took it apart. Now, I bought that in November last year. I actually had it. It was delivered direct from DJI in November last year. When we took the battery apart, the battery was stamped January or early February of that year. So that battery was like 11 months old, 10 months old when we actually got the drone, when we had the drone delivered, because that was a time stamp on it, which was like 10 months before the drone was delivered to me. So that's not good. I mean, when you think about it, you only get 12 months warranty anyway, and I don't think you get 12 months warranty on a battery either. But you certainly don't want a year-old battery when you first get it. Now, the other thing too I want to talk about is when you're flying your drone, don't let it run lower than 20%. Now, the 80-20 rule usually applies. I usually only go to about 30% if I can, but 20% is as low as you should go normally to protect your battery, because you actually put too much stress on the battery cells when you go lower than that. Some people, when they first buy their drones, don't realise that, and they actually fly the drone until it virtually falls out of the sky. And while that might be fun and everything, and you think it's great, it's actually ruining your battery, or shortening its life at the very least. So it's best not to do that. 20% max, or 25 would be better. Obviously, don't drop these. If you drop them on concrete, I'm not saying they will explode, but they can. Don't puncture them. Drive a nail into them, or don't accidentally, like, you know, if you have an accident, a car accident or something, and they're in the car, they will explode. Because as soon as you punch these cells together, if you put a bullet through there or a nail through there, those chemicals join up and they ignite. And they, at the very least, lots and lots of smoke and usually flames. The other thing is, don't short them out. Now, if you're putting these in a bag or whatever, always remember that if there's any wire in your bag or any loose metal or anything that could go inside those little holes, and in the other drones it's the same, in there, if you have anything go in there, you'll short that battery out and you could cause a fire, but you also damage your battery. So that's another thing to be careful of. Now, if you're not going to use your drone for, say, a week, and you pick it up out of your case and you press the button and it's got like 4 bars on the battery, full throttle, it's showing full power on your battery, don't believe it, because it's probably wrong. It's probably got about 20% left in the battery, and I've had this happen many times. So the best way to avoid this problem, because what happens is you put the battery in the drone, as soon as you get up in the air, the battery just dies, because it's a false reading on the lights. They're not the right reading. They give you a full reading on the lights, but if you actually put it on the charge, it'll show that it's charging right from the bottom. So if you are going to fly and you haven't had your batteries, if you've charged them, fully charged them, but you haven't used the drone for 3 or 4 days, recharge the batteries. Put them straight back on charge before you fly. That'll top the battery up and it won't fall out of the sky. Now the other thing I want to talk about is maintenance of the batteries. It's not much to worry about. Basically just don't put detergents on, don't put solvents on them, just wipe them with water. Always try and fly your drone. This is another very important thing people just don't think of. Inside these motors, inside the battery, inside these drones, there's really fine electronics. If you take your drone off from the sand on the beach or from a dusty area, expect problems later, because it just makes sense that you shouldn't get dust and fine particles inside the drone, inside the computer components, inside the motors, inside the battery, inside there could short out. So try and take off a mat or your car or anything, you know, other than the ground. Also, yeah, when you maintain these batteries, you can buy an anti-oxidizer for these, because what happens in some climates, particularly up here, it's very moist and wet in the air all the time, they can corrode, and you can actually buy, if you go to an electronics place, you can buy electronics cleaners, and some are sprays, some are liquids, and just dab them on there, and they eat into the gold contacts a little bit and they make them shiny again and able to be used. Disposal of your battery, obviously when you're disposing of your battery, you get rid of it the same way as you get rid of a car battery. You just take it to a dump or a place where you dispose of batteries. That's all you can do. Don't put them in a bin, obviously, because if you put them in a bin, it could go in the crushing truck. The truck could crush your rubbish along with everything else, and a piece of metal could go through that and the truck could catch fire. Not kidding. And also the best way obviously to store these things is in a lipo bag. I mean, I don't do it, but I store them in cases. I've got cases inside the drone cases where I store the batteries, or in the drone. But yeah, I do have lipo cases, and they're good for using on an aeroplane. That's the other thing too. When you're flying, don't put them in the put them in your onboard luggage. Don't put them in the luggage that goes in the compartment in the back of the aeroplane, because if they do happen to catch fire, there's no way anyone can help do anything, because you can't get back there. And look, I think that's about all I really wanted to talk about. Now you've got to remember that all of these things have the same batteries in them. They're all lipo or lithium ion polymer batteries, so they're all pretty much the same, and you have to treat them all pretty much the same way. So inside your headsets there's batteries, inside your controllers there's the same batteries, inside the drones there's the same battery, in your other goggles, whatever. They're all lipo batteries, and they all have to be treated with respect and care, and they're dear. They're bloody dear. And I'll tell you what, I hate the fact that you're just flying and all of a sudden a thing comes up on your app and says battery broken. I think that's what it actually said, battery broken. Now that sounds great. Even my car battery's only $100. These bloody things, nearly $300. So you don't want that happening real often, I'll tell you. Anyway guys, I'm going to call it a day. With that, can you subscribe? Can anybody out there want to help out by subscribing? Thumbs up, hit the ding dong bell, anything like that can help. Because trying to build up the subscriber base, it always helps to do that.